Hi there, this is Jason. This is actually from the future. But let me just tell you what's going on here. So, when I first recorded this episode of Citizen Sleeper, where I was just trying out it for the very first time, I didn't realize that none of my audio was actually coming through. So, what I'm going to do is I'm basically just going to replay the whole episode, which is like an hour and a half long, and I'm going to read through the stuff that doesn't have any sound. That's it. Unfortunately, any flavor text that I might have had, gone. And but at the same time, I wish I knew now or then what I know now about this game because it is pretty freaking amazing. Anyway, let's get into it, shall we? Yeah. So Citizen Sleeper is a dice-based, I guess you could say visual novel. I thought at first that it was a roguelike, but it's a little bit more than that. Yeah, I wanted to try out a couple new games and see what I could find. And this is one of them. So there's a couple of different classes that you can choose from. Operator is the one that I chose, mainly because it appears that they do good with digital interfaces, and I thought that the character looked cool. But yeah, that says they work with drones and high precision remotes machines to perform complex tasks from a distance. Sleepers assigned to operator work are usually cerebral and precise people. But yeah, there's all sorts of skills that you have to worry about, and each of the skills has different bonuses applied to them. The other one is an extractor. They work on resource extraction in hard vacuum environments. Sleepers assigned to extraction work are often confident, self sufficient, and have high levels of endurance. So, whereas with the other one, they have the benefit of the interface, this one has the benefit of endurance, which is better for the dangerous tasks, I have learned. Yes, me finally actually chose. Yeah, I apologize if this is weird. It feels stilted or disjointed, but I feel kind of bad because this game doesn't actually really lean itself to being a non-voice one. The first thing you become aware of on waking is the disconnect, the delay between thinking and feeling, between wanting to act and acting. Minor, almost imperceptible, but always present. I'm trying to find out what that menu down at the bottom is. It's at its worst when waking, when yourself has spent many dark hours recalling what it felt like to be real, to be a person, to be in a body that was indisputably yours. Forget that body. You resist nostalgia. It's pointless, especially now. This is the moment to reach out, not curl inwards. This is your moment to escape, even if it feels immediately like you traded one prison for another, smaller, colder, lifeless. Hold on a tick. Reach out. You almost laugh, or you would if there was room, or even air to do so. The walls of this container are immediately present, cold, hard, at your back and face, cramping your limbs. You resist the desire to stretch, knowing that claustrophobia comes next, and retreat a little from your central nervous system. It isn't painful. Not like you used to know pain, at least. In emergency mode, pain is a message delivered with efficiency and ease, a reminder that harm is imminent. There is no insistent throb, no trembling nerves, just a warning delivered with the banal quality of a digital notification. Right now, there are thousands of them. Which one do I choose? Remember the others. You remember there were 10 of you, 10 that could no longer stand the indentured work, the routines, the slow decay, 10 whose belief in their promised future was slowly dismantled day by day, until they realized they had sold away everything that could and would ever matter. 10 that would escape, or at least die trying. Some were lost in the shaft, others never found the meeting point. Only a few made it to the containers. But the freighter, as far as you know, left. That feels like enough. Enough to know that you might no longer be on that grim and heartless rock, even if, in the airless hold of a freighter, You might freeze solid long before you reach any destination. Wait for the cold or try to rest. I chose try to rest, but you were restless. It has been a long time since you left, surely weeks, maybe months. You are dully aware of the damage to your legs, your right arm. You have been reserving energy as much as possible, but your body has still needed to shut down with many of its systems to protect you. You have spent much of that time asleep, knowing that anything else would be impossible to endure. I'm going to skip through a few things. You feel the weight of that impossibility begin to gather. It is time to sleep again, to nudge this false body into inducing delta waves in your emulated mind, and once again recoil into the dream of when you were once a person. Time passes, and the cold creeps further in. You feel something. Warmth. Not true warmth, but the indication of its presence. Your joints release from their rigor. Sound, too, everywhere, screeching and shimmering, so loud that your body ducks, your hearing to protect its sensors. Then light, white as the cold, softer and softer until a haze of dirty yellow, a figure appears. You are out. But yeah, you'll see that we're on some sort of space station. And so the gameplay, like the map play of it, takes place on this sort of 3D little ring. And there's points that you choose to continue the story. It has been a few hours since Dragos pulls you from the container. You sit huddled in a corner of his scrapyard, swaddled in the reflective folds of a mylar blanket. You are slowly coming back to consciousness, back to life, and you stare at the ornately curving element of an improvised heater. You're surrounded by angular, incoherent lumps of ships, some corroded beyond recognition, others still carry glassy wounds along their edges where a plasma arc sliced them apart. As you trace their shapes with fogged eyes, you hear a voice. So, Sleeper, you all thawed out yet? Almost. Never seen one of you come in like this. New frames must have better perseverance in sub-zero vac. Seen more than a few of you frozen solid to hull plates or inside-outer locks in my time. They weren't so lucky. Dragos comes into focus, shrouded in makeshift tech, his headset with its glinting eyes, the mark of a drone operator. On his shoulder, one of his symbiotically linked drones perches, its irising eye locking you with an unflinching stare. Last living sleeper that came through this yard was a while ago. They didn't last long. You struggle to read his expression beneath the tech, but he seems lost in a memory for a moment, or perhaps he's just figuring out what to do with you. What happened with him? He ignores your question. I won't ask what led you to do it, to sell yourself to a corporation, and I suppose you know you can't go back. Your old body, that's theirs now. And you are just software, a rogue emulation, illegally possessing corporate property. You're not alone. You remember biometrically signing the forms, the cold floor of your feet as you patted the sleeper cells, the promise of a life off-world. But as you do, you get the now familiar sensation that these aren't your memories. These are the things that you know, but not things that you feel. You are no longer that person. You are an offshoot copy. What you won't know is what's ahead. At least, the last one didn't. There's no easy way to put it. That body of yours is falling apart. It's the same for any sleeper who makes it out. SNR wants to protect their property, but if they can't keep hold of you, well, then no one can. You remember that too, or at least rumors of it, from other sleepers. Planned obsolescence. A built-in dependence on the regularly administered supplements that were part of your routine. Stop taking them and your body begins to shut down. Separate from your emulated mind. How long has it been? How long do you have? But for now, Sleeper, you are one of the lucky ones. Dragos glances up and away, towards the glassy dome of the yard. The eye is the best place you could be right now. The eye? The station. You'll see soon enough. Dragos impatiently shifts his weight. Look, I've got things be getting on with. He trails off. There's an old freight container I've been using as a storage out in the stacks. We haven't been pulling in as much valuable scrap these days, so you're welcome to it. Something wells up inside you. Emotion. Fatigue. You shakily get to your feet. Alright, you head on up there. You look like you need some rest. And with that, Dragos stalks back to the Rex. His drone's already converging on a rusting hulk. Plasma flashes silhouetting his spindly figure as he returns to work. Yeah, I really like the art design in this game. But yeah, welcome to Erlin's Eye. Life on the Eye runs in cycles during which you can talk to characters, explore the station, and perform actions. At the end of each cycle, you need to head to your current home to rest. Resting will move time forward on the station, and so we head to the empty container location to rest and end the cycle now. But yeah, there's like a little home, and each of the little actions is represented by a different sort of icon. Tells us what we're losing. So we're losing -2 energy and -1 condition, but it ends the cycle. You wake, curled up in the corner of the container, and begin slowly assembling the world around you. After all this time, you still find this body, the one you're wake in now, strange and disjointed. Its messages readable, but somehow wrong. You sit up, pulling the mylar blanket close against the cold. Here you are, on this ruined station, millions of miles from anyone you know. Are you still in the system? Did any of the others make it out? It's impossible to know. After all, what matters? Choices: escape, getting answers, building a life. Building a life. Maybe you did get lucky, finding yourself here, maybe here, on the edge of everything. There's a life for you to build, but before you can build anything, you'll need to learn to survive. Dragos has left a few comforts in the container: the mylar blanket, the bedroll you slept on, a canister of water, a makeshift electric stove, and some faded sachets of some desiccated powder. You thumb the powder stud of the stove and begin to boil the water. The contents of the sachet smell like damp wood, and you sprinkle them into the liquid. As the pungent smell washes over you, images from your restless sleep come back to you. A ring, like the station, but skeletal and ghostly. A web of threads pulling at your skin. A constellation of bright polygonal shapes like angular suns burning into your mind. There's something unpleasantly visceral about these images, and it is long after you've finished drinking before they begin to fade. You tidy away the stove as best you can and try to gather enough energy to start your day. So conditions, the things are condition, which is the top bar. It's the current state of your body. If it depletes, you lose the amount of dice that you have per day, and if it goes all the way, I think that you die. Action dice, all dependent on your condition. You use those to do all the things. And then energy is the bottom bar, and as long as you're not starving, you only lose 1 condition per day, but if you're starving, you lose 2. Dragos is standing up in the corridor when you close the container. He's still wearing his headset, and in the harsh light of the corridor, you realize it is implanted. A drone sits on his shoulder, its cache of sensor eyes rapidly irising. How are you feeling? Not good. The drone chirps. Dragos nods. You notice that beneath the operator's rig, his skin is marked by burns and blotches. I know the container isn't much, but it'll keep you safe. He pauses. So I'm not gonna chit-chat too long. You well enough to work? Sure. All right then, he nods. At the yards, it's simple enough. We hack these old hulls down, sell them off to the shipyards or the bright market before cryo, or dealers with cryo. Occasionally, we pull out some tech, something with a bit more value, but most of what comes in is scrap. It's hard to find good hands here, but I figure, as a sleeper, you'll be used to the manual labor, and obviously you'll slip a few chits of commission based on what you can turn up. What you turn up. He shuffles his feet nervously. Look, I wouldn't usually do this. In my opinion, you'd be best suited moving on as quick as you can. In sleepers, well, he trails off. But the thing is, the way that they are for me at the yard. He pauses. I need the help. Happy to. Okay, he pauses, thinking of something else to add. Look, just come down to the yard when you're feeling fresher. There's plenty to do. He nods distractedly and turns and walks away, the drone hopping along ahead of him. See you later, he calls back. Looks like it's time to get to work. Yeah, as the story progresses, different things appear, so now we can go work at Dragos' yard. There is an upgrade path that you can take. Earn points to upgrade your dice for different skills. Actually, very useful. Actions. So, actions are the primary way that you interact with the world of Citizen Sleeper. You press the left and right on the D-pad and A to choose the action and then assign a dice. So, yellow dice have positive outcomes. Neutral with the white, there's less of a chance of a positive outcome, but also a small chance of a negative outcome. And then with the negative actions, it's a 50-50. So, if you want a guaranteed good outcome, more yellow, more better. I mean, obviously, with any like dice game, you want higher numbers. But it's actually pretty intuitive, and it works pretty well. I like it. It's a good system. I feel like this would work well as a board game. So, actions display information about their type, risk level, and skill. And so you'll see that each action has a different skill, which is assigned to one of your 6 skill points. So for me, I have a -1 on Endure, so that's why these are slightly more dangerous for me. If it says risky, it means that the outcome could be energy loss or losing money. If it's safe, it means that there's no danger. It just won't be a good outcome. And if it says danger in red, then that means that I could lose like my condition or energy or cryo. So yeah, basically I have the ability to work for or do a couple things to earn a little bit of money. And then each of these tasks, they all feed in towards these 2 cycle clocks. So as you finish a cycle clock, you might unlock more aspects or more talking points, more places. Some cycle clocks, like this one with the like the circle arrows, basically they just automatically happen. So no matter whether you interact with it or not, the cycle will pass. And obviously, and honestly, like if they leave, then that's usually something that you don't have the opportunity to get again. Or it might also indicate something that you're waiting to happen. Like you have to wait this many cycles before you can speak to a specific person. Drives and navigation. So you have goals that are called drives. You can track the drives, and that'll give you like the little yellow waypoint above markers to tell you that this specific location is relevant to your drive. And so basically after that, that's almost the end of the tutorial. And you can basically just go wherever you want in the eye now. So it just tells you that you can fill clocks, make sure you get your energy up, and recover condition, and end cycle when you're out of dice. It looks like I choose to track the repay Dragos. Do I? Nope, I choose survive. So there's a shipbuilding yard where I can assist a shipbuilder. Dragos' yard. dock, a rotunda, another dock. Salvage ships come in here every 4 cycles. Well, if there's not a ship there, it'll arrive in 4 cycles. And then a different type of ship comes there in 8 cycles if there's not one there. Right market, low end gate. And nothing else. So it is important to have money, especially in the beginning of the game. Like, you want to have money because you're going to need it. You kind of got to split your time between filling in the clocks and completing your drives and earning money. So, add a dice for the day, I go back and sleep. Then when previously I had 4 dice, I'm losing a little bit of condition, which reduces me to 3. This time, you don't wake up. Instead, the ghost of the station, that shifting skeletal ring, surrounds you. For a moment, you are gone, absent from your own body, stretched out across the colorless void. Then the connection begins to establish themselves, threads tugging on the edge of your mind. These threads become vectors of exchange and then extensions, as you feel your thoughts slipping away down them, dissolving into the millions of distributed nodes they connect to. You see the station, no, you feel the station, like a web of texture in a smooth black liquid. You find a point in the station and you connect to it, pulse through it, follow loops and paths under and around it. You touch more points than you have fingers, and then you try, in a moment of impulsiveness, to connect to them. The flow passes through you so rapidly that you feel yourself being carried with it, splitting and separating, eddying and gathering. As you do, things occur to you, things you can't possibly know. You reach out, try to grasp them, try to touch them too. You notice a tugging feeling pulling at you, incessantly, as if it were a small child. Somehow it is pulling in 2 directions at once. You look down. All of a sudden, everything shuts off. You come back, trembling to this unfamiliar body, both yours and not yours all at once. You find yourself standing inside the container, eyes open to the dark steel walls. You feel a change within you, a shift. You close your eyes for a second and you feel it waiting there. A sensation, the station splayed out across your mind, a storm of connective nodes, waiting to be explored, and then it is gone. I am starving. I think I'm trying to figure out what happened. With these sort of like location areas where it offers you to explore, you want to explore them because the more you do, the more options and other available places that you can go to opens. It's often how you find people and drives. And then there's gates in the game, which they sort of restrict you between certain areas, and they require money in order to pass. But obviously, more places to go to, more chances to earn money, more chances to survive. And for the most part, if it doesn't have like an auto clock on it, you can go wherever you want. Yeah, I'm choosing to explore the rotunda. And here, I mean, obviously there's like a good and a bad. It's like if I steal dock plans and I get caught by security, then I'll be doing bad things. And because I used a 1 in a risky aid action, I lost energy. which is bad. And then if I have no energy and I fail the action, then that loses me condition, which is very bad. But it looks like I found a bar. I can get a drink, or I can buy rations. Definitely need rations because I need energy. So I buy 2 of them. Then I buy a drink. Because what better place to get to know people than in a bar? Again, the skeletal ring of the station fills your mind. It sparkles with glittering lights, like stars reflected in a winter lake. It is clearer, crisper than before. The threads still pull, but you remain in place, flickering in the flow. You push Y, and you basically enter like an underside, digital version of the station. Between the threads, you see bright shapes, caches of shimmering light beneath transparent crystal forms. You follow the path of a thread across the ring, through these forms, then leap off into the void. You begin to understand. These are nodes and connections of a map of information, of communication. There are so many layers, so many loops that it seems almost impossible to parse. You begin to try. There are more threads than you can count. You choose one that passes nearby and approach it. As you inspect it, you understand why you instinctively chose the word thread. When you first saw them, they were not single lines, but rough, fuzzy things woven from data strings of all kinds. The threads and nodes, passages and puzzle boxes, one leads to another. There is so much here, so many answers, so many questions. All you need to do is follow the paths and open the boxes. You look out across this ghost landscape of exchange and see an opportunity. But then, that insistent tugging again, pulling at you. You look down again and see 2 lines. 2 threads pulling in different directions, as if they were tied around you. The second thread leads in, pulling deep into the station. Your gaze follows it, and this time you see something. A sphere shimmering above a strange angular body. A pulse shoots out from it, passing over you like a torch beam, testing you, tasting you. The first thread leads out, away from the station, into the inky black. Someone out there is tracking you, hunting you, following the thread to you. They are in a ship, and the ship is approaching ever closer with each cycle. You open your eyes. Time is short. And now we're being hunted. Apparently they're going to arrive in 8 days. Alright, so the cloud. Something has changed inside you. You can access the data cloud by pushing Y. Be careful, these networks are old and strange. So down here, there's like nodes that you can interact with. Again, they're actions that require dice. Either you put in exactly the dice that it requires, or depending on your skill, you may have the ability to put in an alternate dice. So in this case, the one that's shown here can do a 2 or a 3. And when you do them, you get like data out of it. Data can be used for other things. But you'll see also that there is a there's like a data type for all sorts of different things, and depending on like what you do depends on like what sort of result you'll get. Up at the top here, underneath your dice, there's like a bar that gauges when the hunter is going to come after you. Honestly, it's potentially dangerous, but I don't know. Like I was always, never mind. I won't say anything further. Yeah, I need to continue exploring, looking for more stuff. Swap my drive to continue helping Dragos. Some of these, instead of dice, they require specific data key points. So if you don't have those data pieces, you don't have the ability to actually continue them. I realize that my background is kind of shitty for this, isn't it? As you drift back from the node, something latches onto you. A thread strung tight around you. It tethers you in place. A taste. The voice makes you shiver. Its source somehow both distant and close behind your ear. You see a distant glint of light shut off, and then suddenly a shape is at your side. It stalks around you, circling like a shark, like a wolf. Please hold. Or, well, it says entity unknown, astringent, processing. Please hold. The thread around you thickens until it is a ring, a cylinder, a tunnel of light, circled around you. It is binding for a moment, and then it is gone. As it fades, you see a figure, a creature in front of you. Its strange head flickers between different angles, reading you. What are you? The shape places around you, or paces around you on lithe legs, though there is no ground here to pace on. Entity, identify, origin, serial, cadence. The figure faces you expectantly. Sleeper, Essen, Arb. Unknown, known. The figure's strange head rotates, brackish signature. Of and not of. Attempting interface. As the figure speaks, more threads begin to spiral from its head. Thick, snaking, vine-like ribbons that flex and wave. They approach you with intent. Stop. The figure halts its threads, its head twitching. Entity. Your identity is unknown. We only seek correct illegalities. Can you confirm your legal right to sentience? I'm a person. Incorrect. You are an entity. All at once, Hunter's head is directly in front of yours, blocking your vision. You stink of their taste. The one from the sealed dock. Hunter shimmers with fury. I will find access. I will interface. Sealed dock? An entity hides in the rotunda. You are its puppet. Hunter extends a razor-edged thread. I will not be diverted from my task. It glows with murderous intent. You lash out with all your force. Not a physical strike, but a focusing, a spike of interference leaping out like the tip of a spear. Hunter stumbles, shifts, separates. You open your eyes, blinking back into the station light, shaking with fear. So, the bar up at the top, it gives you 6 interactions before the hunter appears again. So that's the danger of coming down here. I'm looking for something to interact with. I haven't figured out exactly that the data point needs to match. I have no energy, so I should Go to bed. No, instead I get a drink. And I'm sorry, this little thing around me, I'm trying to block out the fact that, like, I am also there. So, yeah. This is the price that I pay for attempting to do audio and do it poorly. The glass shatters on the steel bar beside you, and the taunts don't take long to follow. "Hey, Haunt!" the spacer calls across the low room. "What are you doing here?" He laughs at his own lame joke. "Playing human?" Ignore him. You hunch a little further, staring at the hundreds of tiny impact points that scar the bar's surface. A hand falls on your shoulder, but as you flinch away, it pats reassuringly. You freeze in place. "Out!" the voice comes from behind you, spat out like a shot. You turn to see bright eyes, dark hair, a stare that could breach the wall and vent you all into hard vacuum. As you turn back to the spacer, the second glass comes sailing through the air. Catch. You reach up a hand and the glass shatters across your forearm, showering you in fragments. Through the haze of glass and Girol vapor, you see Tala leap the bar and close the distance to the spacer. The thud as she slams it into the wall echoes around the bar like thunder. Now flanked by other figures, quick to their feet, Tala throws the spacer out through the door and stands silhouetted against the rotunda lights. You touch your arm, and it feels wet. Someone helps you to your feet and back onto your stool. Broken glass rattles as it is cleared, and a fresh measure of Girol is lugged out in front of you. That same hand, warm, heavy, falls on your shoulder once more. Tala wipes the powdered glass from around the wound, and someone places a bottle of alcohol and a metal tin with tweezers on the bar. She disinfects them and then turns to you. "That was an ambitious catch," she smiles, pulling a sliver of glass from your forearm. "Stupid, but ambitious. You don't feel the pain, only the sting of status messages your body delivers concerning dermal damage and exposed structures. You do feel the care, though, as Tala's bright eyes search your thick synthetic skin for splinters." Tala works with the skill of someone who has had to pick glass splinters from the skin of a stranger before. She hones in on each bright shard, all the time tapping the tweezers in little rhythms that only she can follow. Tala smiles to herself. "So, you've been on the eye long?" "Not long. I thought so. I've only seen you here a couple of times." A splinter clinks into the tin. "Not everyone is like that idiot. We don't all hate you." She glances around. "Some of the regulars, maybe they fear you, but they're just curious. I don't know. But I do know that the Overlook is a safe place. I know what it's like to be new in this place. Trust me." She meets your eye. "I'm not trying to convince you of anything or separate you from your chits. I just want you to know that if you need somewhere, you can always come here. I know the rations we've got aren't much, and the company is," she leans in, "limited. But if you need work, I'll happily put you behind the bar. If you need shelter, well, we can discuss that. You'll be safe. I usually have Francis on the door, but he's up in the Greenway this cycle, haggling with our supplier. Francis tends to be particular about what we serve, even if the clientele isn't." He places her tweezers in the tin with a clink. "That's you, Sleeper." "Here." She slides the glass of Grill to you. "This'll help." She stops, her hand still on the glass. "Wait, does this help? I mean, can you get drunk?" "Let's find out." She laughs. "Don't just sit here too long. I'd hate to see you become a real regular." She walks back around the bar, gathering the glasses as she does, and before long is retelling how she threw that spacer out to a new group that just wandered in, complete with dramatic actions. She gestures in your direction, and you instinctively look away, back to the worn surface of the bar. You take a sip of the Girol. The earthy, fungal tones fill your senses, almost blocking out sight and sound, like diving headfirst in a bog. You may not be able to get drunk, but this connection to something grown, something fermented, something old, feels good. Excuse me. Making friends. You have no dice, go home. Down 2 dice. As you close up, a voice echoes down the corridor towards you. Sleeper, wait up. Feng is coming down the corridor towards you, a wonky grin on his broad face. Hey, glad I caught you. Do I know you? He grins. You do now. He puts a hand on your arm. I've seen you hanging around here, just want to chat. You staying in that thing? He nods back to the container, shaking his head. Rough. It can be hard to get a start on the eye. He looks away down the passage. What was it Erlin said? The eye opens for us all. Nice idea, but well, not always very practical. He glances back at you. We do our best, but it isn't easy. We? You pass together into the main walkway. Havenage. We are all one dysfunctional family. Feng puts an arm around you. I'm not part of the security branch, though. Don't worry. I'm with systems. Systems? Everything the eye runs on. He runs a hand along the passage wall. This place is a ruin, but systems keeps it spinning somehow. At least we try to. He stops you in the quiet passage. Look, that's not what I'm here to discuss. I saw you round, and well, I know a little about you sleepers. I have a little proposition for you. He glances around. But this is not the place for it. I have an office just across the way. Give me a cycle or two to prepare. Then, when you are settled, stop by. He lowers his voice and gives you a dark look. In truth, I need you. If what they say is true about you sleepers, well, there's work to be done. He pats you on the back, his voice bright and his dark look suddenly gone. Stay clean, sleeper. He walks off down the passage, raising a hand in farewell. So sometimes people come find you. I have no idea why I'm pumping dice into this when they're so low. So I got a new meeting point with Feng. Sleeper! Feng catches your attention as you approach the Havenage building, leaning outside a bay door to the side of the entrance. You approach, easier to come in this way, security and all that. He gives you a look. You know? He slams a button and the bay creaks open, blinking lights in the dark behind it. You follow Feng inside. Truth be told, I don't spend much time upstairs. This is where I work. The door hisses as it closes behind you. The bay is filled with pieces of hardware, all rigged up to generators or diagnostic slates, and things you don't recognize that glow with blue screen light. There's a chorus of hums that blends into a single wave of static, filling the dark corners of the room. Feng leans on a server stack and gestures around you. You like it? What's all this? He taps on a nearby server stack, which bleeps in response. This is my treasure trove, all dredged up from the sea of systems we call the Eye. You wouldn't believe what this place runs on. He steps over a towering block, speckled with vents. Some of these systems are from the original station, A1. The one Solheim built. We've had to invent new components, repair things we never built, reverse engineer entire subsystems into its existence. I think that I spent some time looking up how to say AE. I'm still just saying it as AE. I know that it probably has like a special way, but I don't care right now. Residents here look up at the Eye and think they are seeing a concrete reality, but this place is a system in a constant flux, decaying and growing, collapsing into new configurations. He walks down between the hardware stacks and you follow. We're keeping this place alive, but also remaking it into something new, dragging it away from those corporate origins. He stops. At least that's what I'm trying to do. He turns back to face you among the flickering machines, humming all around you. I know you can see this too, Sleeper. All these systems and sections. You can, can't you? I think I said, I can see it. Makes sense, right? You are here between and there. You are between here and there, between people and their systems. You light this place up like a beacon. That's what I need. You glance at the lights around you, and as you do, you see them flicker. As you do, they seem to flicker, to realign, to follow your gaze. Feng notices it too. I'm guessing being a beacon isn't always ideal when you're on the run, though. He pats you on the shoulder. Maybe I can help you with that. There's a lot of old growth in this place. Subsystems I can't see, access protocols lost to time and decay, secrets, a shitload of secrets. With your help, I can unlock this place. Break off the last ghost limbs of corporate control. He lowers his voice beneath the hum. Even in Havenage, there is old growth. Those whose roots trace back into those bad old days. You help me dredge up the past, and I'll see what I. Da, 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 da. Oh my god. You help me dredge up the past. And I'll see what I can do about that tracker of yours, he winks. What do you say, Sleeper? Feng pumps his fist and clamps you on the shoulder. He meets your eye. You won't regret it, Sleeper. Feng passes you a ragged-looking metal tab. A gift, he smiles. It's a Solheim cipher. I dug it up from the depths of the station. Slot that into an old network gate, and you'll be able to pull out all kinds of secrets from the nodes inside. He walks you back to the front of the bay. Start by bringing me whatever you can turn up. Use that emulated mind of yours and see what's out there. Let's get a picture of how things are. Those above, he nods at the ceiling, have granted me an acquisitions budget. I can pay you for whatever useful data you bring in. I know you need it. He slams the door again. Keep it quiet. Keep it clean, Sleeper, and I'll see you soon. You step, blinking back out into the passage, those flickering lights still in the back of your mind. So, earned a new drive. We can deliver data. So, the stuff that he wants you to do, it seems that it deals a lot more with the underside, the digital realm. And he gave you a cipher specifically for this Havenage. No, a Solheim game. And I think past Jason is starting to understand what this means. Right now, I think that I'm thinking that if I disable my tracker, it'll help me with the thing that's chasing me. I'm learning about a ship that just showed up. I can unload its contents or buy some scrap. I am quickly learning that energy is important. I need a doctor because my condition is bad and I can't live on 2 dice a day. Ah, but look what I found. Next comes the calls from the enforcer at the door. You shuffle down the flickering hallway toward the open apartment door. You keep your head down and your shoulders high in the queue, trying not to bring attention to yourself. You were thankful for the tip-off that a doctor was operating out of this place, but now that you're here, you aren't so sure. The gang enforcer on the door, the flickering light strips, the decaying hab block, they have all made the long queue a test of your nerve. But your options are few, and without a supply of stabilizer, this body, your body, will... You suppress a shiver and shuffle forward to the front of the queue. You find yourself you're trying to find something to distract yourself. You lean against the doorframe and look into the apartment. The entryway is dark, punctuated by the green indicators of stacks of sealed containers. You lean in and see amber light filtering through a far doorway, screened with plastic sheeting, beyond which blurred shapes move. The slap of the enforcer's palm against the doorway jerks you awake. Wait your turn, he growls. After a few moments, a figure pushes through the doorway, and you catch a distant voice. Send in the next one, Toshiro. The enforcer jerks his head, and you slip inside, passing through the dark entryway and pushing through the plastic sheeting on the far door. The room beyond is bathed in a warm light. A floor-to-ceiling transparent panel gives a full view of the bright market's sealed roof and the buzzing traffic above. And for a moment, you're transfixed by the motion. Come, sit, calls a sharp voice, and you see a silhouetted figure turned away, replacing the plastic sheeting over the frame of a simple folding bed. You make your way across the room. The figure turns, and as they do, you see an expression of confusion flash across their features. They open their mouth as if to speak, they blink, and then quickly regain their composure. Please, sit. They gesture to the bed, then turn to an open case of tools on the table. You sit. Sabine turns, a compact diagnostic scanner of some kind in their hand. They hold it to their eye. Remain still, please. Their tone is clipped and businesslike. You stare ahead, still dazed from their expression when you first entered. Fear, recognition, sadness, unmistakably etched across their face. How long have you been on the station? They ask, scanner still to their eye. They nod. It's good you came to me. They set the diagnostic scanner on the table. I'm going to start by assuming you don't know anything. They take your arm and roll up your sleeve, inspecting your synthetic skin. Your body is dying. They say it without ceremony, without drama, but not without empathy. S&ARP doesn't like to see its proprietary technology let loose. To prevent bodies like yours, frames as they call them, from being stolen, repurposed, or in your case, escaping, they build in a process of so-called planned obsolescence. Frames decay rapidly when not regularly injected with a stabilizer, one which S&ARP remains the sole producer of. They look up. Sound familiar? Yes. Good. That may help. They swap to your other arm, running some thin metal device over your skin. You feel your forearm tremble. I'm sorry, Sabine says. You're unsure if they mean for the cold touch of the metal or everything else. Emulations like you, sleepers as most people know you, aren't classified as people in any of the surrogate systems. You have no rights, no status. They focus hard on the inspection of your arm, and S&ARP has no reason to release stabilizer into the market. Sabine looks up as if to apologize again, but they stop themselves. I know little of this is of use to you. They turn away, disassembling the metal instrument and cleaning it. Silence fills the room as Sabine works, and then the silence gives way to tension. You stare at their back, willing them to say something, anything. Sabine turns to face you. I may be able to help, they sigh. And you see the darkness under their eyes. Hear the fatigue in their voice. They gesture to the door. You saw Toshiro outside. You nod. He works for my benefactor, Yatagan. They are influential in the low end. They give me this space to work, run the door, and take the profits. At the same time, I have to fix up their enforcers, tend to their implants, sew up their wounds. They look away. But Yatagan has connections. Smugglers from the Starward Belt, mercenaries working for their corporations on Ember. If they can source the stabilizer, maybe you'll have a better chance. Sabine sets down in their slate, their notes complete. This is dangerous. And it'll be expensive, but I think we can do it. Why help me? Sabine walks away to the window, their face dappled by the shadows of passing drones. Let's just see if this works first. I'll let you know when I have a lead. You nod and leave, Sabine still staring out, unmoving. When you reach the lower level of the market, you look back up through the panels of the roof to see if you can see their face, but the room looks dark against the lights of the market. You duck your head and walk off into the crowd. So, we gotta wait a few cycles, and then we'll find out if she can actually produce stabilizer for me. Stabilizer's good. Emphas is busy, his broad face uplit by the makeshift gas burner in front of him. With precise, delicate movements, he lays thick chunks of marinated fungus into a dented wok, his other hand idly tossing a metal bowl of sliced vegetables in some red-flecked dressing. The smell is incredible. You watch as he fulfills a set of orders, heaping the fungus with the bright salad and depositing it in in plastic trays. A stack of chits rattles in his apron as customers file past the burner, handing over payment. You join the queue. It's mostly made of off-duty salvagers, vac suits unzipped and rolled down to expose stained vests, grubby mods, a lattice of scars and tattoos. They discuss the best food on the eye, the best drink, comparing notes on bright market dives, their words cut through with heavy spacer slang. Eventually it's your turn, and you shuffle to the front. Emphas speaks in a deep, even tone. Without looking up, first try is free. The smell is almost unbearably strong as he cooks. The earthiness of the fungus laced with something so spicy the smoke makes your eyes water. The heat from the burner is like a bonfire, and your skin hardens in its glare. I know you sleepers, Emphas says while he cooks, his voice deep but clear. A hard life, a lot of stories. He glances up from beneath his cap with piercing eyes. I know. You begin to tell him about your journey to the eye, and he nods as he cooks, his eyes never leaving his work. You tell him of the confusion, the pain, but also the sense of possibility and its sudden arrival. You tell him of the cold and dark of the container, of the endless cycles spent within it. Now it seems, you tell him, like some dream that you once had but can never forget. You tell him that the eye excites you and scares you, and you are unsure where to walk, where to look, what to do. Eventually, you tail off, running out of words. He places a plastic tray of steaming fungus in your hand. Next time, we can talk some more, he smiles. But next time, you pay. He slams a heavy hand against the bottom on the burner's side, and it shuts off. The roar of the flame and its impressive heat fades. Next time, then, sleeper. He waves you away and begins to oil the wok before you turn back to the alley. You notice the geometric patterns of circular scars across his forearms, each surrounded with a constellation of glinting pin marks. You walk away, and as you do, you take a bite of the rich, spicy delicately sweet fungus. Your taste sensors light up like a fusion reactor. You'll be back. Yeah, you can reorder the fungus, and you can become a fungus fan. I like that drive. All I'll say is that knowing what I know now, um, interactions with people is really cool. It's definitely worthwhile finding different people to talk to and learning as much as you can about them. I finished back in business, which is good. I don't understand how to continue it. You arrive into a buzz of activity at the yard. Red blinking lights flash across the vast dark shape suspended below the dome. They flicker across scorched hull plates and bent structures, spilling from holes in a twisted shape. The cutter is huge, and it has been torn apart in some violent encounter. She's a beauty, isn't she? Dragos stands to the side, focusing on the hulking ship as it's lowered into the yard. I should thank you. This place was on its last legs when you turned up. And now look at this. The ship descends slowly, its interior visible through multiple hull breaches. You struggle to gather the same enthusiasm as Dragos for this monstrous craft. You can't help but think of what became of its crew. What do you mean? He glances at you. I managed to convince our salvager friends to give it to me on credit. That's what happened. Not my concern, he shrugs. The ship creaks like a calving iceberg as it reaches the base of the yard. Dragos is visibly excited. I know I said you shouldn't stick around, but I'm going to need some help with this one. The drones start to crawl over the hulk, their lights illuminating flashes of dented hull. Watching, you wonder if you arrived in a similar fashion. Locked inside that container, the wreck of the Essen Arp freighter lowered into the yard like a corpse, ready to be butchered. Or was the container delivered to Dragos on its own? A womb for your rebirth into this strange station. You shudder. Perhaps you could learn something about the ship. You, Perhaps if you could learn something about the ship, you might be able to trace a path that led you to this yard. Dragos squeezes your shoulder. After these past cycles, I think we're up to it. What do you think? You see the fading name of the ship emblazoned on its side. Winterlight. Let's do it. He claps you on the back. Glad to hear it. Come back in a few and we can make a start. A real beauty, Dragos repeats. Perhaps just to himself. You take one last look at the shattered ship as the drones start cutting, and then slip out of the yard, feeling suddenly cold in the empty passage. So, got a new drive. You completed your first drive. Each drive completed unlocks an upgrade point, and you can spend it to upgrade your character. What I choose to do? Oh, predictive reasoning. Yeah. It's either that one or the thrill seeker. I'm desperately trying to remember, but I can. One gives you energy when you use the action, and then one lets you know what the potential outcomes would be. I think that I took the potential outcome. I did. Tracking the drives isn't really super necessary. There's so few things to interact with on the station, usually, that like you know what you're doing, and like by the time that you understand like what each drive requires, like you sort of know where you need to look. But it helps you keep focused. So I'm gonna wait for Sabine. Again, checking the ship. I should be working for Dragos. That's what I should be doing. But I need to find more stuff. So apparently I'm gonna explore the Rotunda, maybe? No? What am I doing? Yep, order fungus. Okay, I bought mushrooms. Sorry, I'm skipping. Looks like I did a little bit of hacking. I'm back to a point where I still can't determine whether I have what I need to do the hacking or not. Draco's nerve. Draco seems increasingly nervous about your presence in the yard. You're not sure he's going to hold his nerve much longer. Come on, do it. How long am I going to hold on to this one dice? There's nothing there. Oh, nope, I work at the bar. Energy gone. It's so weird doing this. Like, there's 10 minutes left of this, and it's just like, it's funny because I'm like looking down and watching myself and like I'm reading at almost the same pace sometimes. It's very funny. It is weird. I'm trying to use the gift of hindsight to determine what my mind is telling me, but I can't. Don't order fungus. You don't need to. Nope, I order fungus. The most important thing is to keep in mind the cycles. Red cycles are cycles that, like, once they're gone, they are gone. Yellow cycles are repeating cycles that don't really affect you. It's just like a thing that's just going to happen and continue to happen. Red cycles, you definitely want to look out for. I'm telling you this much, I should be working for Dragos. There we go. Good. But that was not helpful. And I take a shift at the bar. At 5 would have done me good at the at Dragos' yard. And now my condition is so low I only get 1 dice a day. Oh, Sabine action. The first thing you see on entering is the glint of Toshiro's implants. Like a cat's eye, in the dark of the corridor, he nods you in as you arrive at Sabine's door. The entryway is still dark and you push through the sheeting into the surgery. I have it. Sabine stands with the case open in front of them. A set of vials lined up inside, separated by foam inserts. They pick one up, rotating it in the warm light. I have no idea how Yadigan. They trail off. We should treat this with caution. It looks authentic, but I have no idea if it really is what it appears to be. I don't care. I appreciate your enthusiasm, but we need to be careful. Unfortunately, I'm not sure we have another choice. They gesture for you to sit on the bed. The stabilizer works under a similar principle to an immunosuppressant in a transplant operation, and then it stops your body from ejecting the unfamiliar part of itself. In your case, in the case of your frame, the unfamiliar part is each of your biosynthetic organ groups, which over time are identified by your body as foreign material and therefore must be eliminated. Sabine holds up a vial of the would-be stabilizer. However, unlike an immunosuppressant, the stabilizer doesn't do this by limiting your entire immune system. Instead, it recodes your biosynthetic organs with new protein chains which act as passcodes within your immune system. The stabilizer refreshes those passcodes, keeping your frame from rejecting all of its own organs, which means the stabilizer should be able to encode any organic or biosynthetic matter to be accepted by your immune system. They glance away. At least if the stabilizer is genuine. The only way to know for sure is to inject a vial. They begin readying the syringe. I'll start with a small dose to limit your risks. Okay. Sabine cracks the glass neck of the stabilizer vial and uses a syringe to extract a fraction of the liquid. They tap the syringe, and you watch as if any sign might emerge from the clear liquid. You barely feel the needle, your frame registering the initial injection, but with little response. Sensation begins to spread from the site, a fizzing, trembling wave that disperses through your arm with incredible speed. Your vision goes white, and when you return, Sabine appears encased in shards of sparkling light that slowly fade into darkness as you settle back against the bed. You swim in darkness, muffled noises like an argument heard from underwater, prickling waves of cold. When you sit back up, Sabine is sitting in a chair by the window, facing away from you, backlit by the glow of their slate. Awake? Yes. The stabilizer is genuine. They sit down beside the bed. I don't know how Yadigan acquired a case of this stuff, but they did. Sabine looks troubled, distracted. You should rest some more. But you are going to have to do that somewhere else. A gesture to the door. I have other patients. Sorry. Sabine nods towards the case. I'm afraid I can't offer you any more doses. You are going to need to pay for your next dose. Silence fills the room, and they return to their glowing slate. Looking around the room, it seems different somehow, as if things have moved or shifted. You wonder how long you've been out. Sabine. Nothing comes for free, sleeper. Remember that. You manage to get to your feet and wander out into the hallway. The queue stretches down the flickering corridor. Toshiro stands impatiently by the door and fixes you with a glare as you leave. You lower your eyes as you stumble past, somehow faintly aware of the station spinning beneath you. And now my condition is back at max. And we learn that stabilizer, to purchase more, it's going to cost me 100 credits. Where am I going to spend this last dice? So the ship that was there, it disappeared. It's another yellow cycle and it'll come back. God, I make such bad choices. And we'll end our cycle. And I think that's where I end this episode. I think. Look at that. 4 6s. That's great. It's a good dice day. But okay, that's gonna do it. Thanks for watching. Ignore the ghost me behind me. But this game is great. If you play it, I hope you enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. Lots of reading, but I think the story goes deep and goes places that I appreciate. But thanks for watching, and see you next time. Bye bye. Man, this is weird. Also, past me wears their headphones too far forward on their head.
I'm okay, Dave.